Hi guys, my name is Arman Shah, president of KITE, and welcome back to KITE's free Python course. Today we're going to be going over iterations, or more specifically, while loops. So in order to understand iterations, this is an important concept we must understand first, and it's pretty much the concept of updating a variable, and it works like this. If we want a variable, we could update a variable by adding a string or an integer, and we could do this by setting it equal to the previous variable plus or minus any string or integer. So let's say x equals 0, as we have right here. I want to add x by 1 for whatever reason, so I say the new x would be equal to the previous x plus 1. So what would this new x equal? Well, it would equal 0 plus 1, which is 1. Now I said you could also do it with strings, so let's say I wanted that I have x equals hello, and I wanted to make it hello world. What I could do is I could say the new x would equal the current x, which is hello, and we could add that to world. Now if I print x, print it here too. So first we're going to get the hello, which is the previous x, and the new x would be hello world. So sometimes machines and computers need to run certain programs over and over and over again. And this is where iterations come. So by definition, an iteration is a repetition of a process, where kind of like, think of like an assembly line where they have to, the same person does the same work over and over and over again until the job is finished. So in order to do this, Python has iterations, and a certain iteration that we use, common one, is the while statement, and it is written exactly how it runs exactly how it looks, as you can see over here. And we're gonna take a look at it. We're gonna kind of decipher this. So we first set n equal to 5, and now we're saying while n is greater than 0, print n. So while n is greater than 0, so n is always greater than 0 over here. So because n is greater than 0, it's going to run this over here. It's going to print n, and then it's going to set n equal to n minus 1. So now n is going to equal to 4. And now, because n equals 4, we go back here to the while statement. Is this boolean over here true? That's true, because n is still greater than 0, and it's going to rerun what's inside the while statement. It's going to print n one more time, and then it's going to go over here in the while statement, and it's going to say that now n is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. Go back over here. What is n? N is 3. Is 3 greater than 0? Yes. So this boolean is still true. We're going to print what's over here, and we're going to go over and over again, on and on, until n will eventually equal 0. When n equals 0, then this while loop, this boolean over here, is not true no more. It's no longer true. So what's going to happen is that we're going to break this, and we're going to go and print blast off. So while statements are very simple because you could read it as if it's almost English. What I want you to do is kind of guess or predict what's the output of this going to be. So I've recreated the code over here. N equals 5 while n equals when n is greater than 0, print n, and then n is equal to 1 less, pretty much. So what's the code gonna look like? It's gonna look like a countdown to a blast off. That's pretty much what it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. That's what we're gonna get. And pretty much what happens is that while we set n equal to 5, as long as it's greater than 0, it's gonna keep on running what's inside the while statement. And once over here we have a condition that n will decrease by 1 every single time it goes through that while statement, and eventually that n will equal 0. So that's why it doesn't print n equals 0, and instead when n equals 0, n is no longer greater than 0, obviously, so this boolean would be false, and it would break this while statement and it would print this blast off over here, as Python obviously goes in sequential order. So an important thing you must look out for in while loops, specifically while loops, is an infinite loop. So in our previous slide, in the previous line of code we just wrote, we had that condition where n is greater than 0, but n is decreasing every single time it goes through that while loop, as we saw before. Sometimes n will not decrease. Sometimes in a code you can make an infinite loop, and this infinite loop will go on and on and on. So let me show you what an infinite loop will look like. So let's say I had over here n equals 5, but I didn't put this condition. Let's say I didn't put this condition here, and I run it. It would just go on and on and on, and it's pretty much breaking my computer. I can't do anything. It's infinitely scrolling. Like, it's just, right? It's keeping adding more until I press stop. I have to stop that. Went on and on, and it's only gonna print 5s because I never decreased n. That's pretty much what I did. I could also do while true instead. Print n, and I can even say n equals n minus 1. This boolean here has no condition. It's what we never regulate true, what true is. True is always true, obviously. So what's gonna happen is we get infinite numbers, negative numbers, just going on until infinity. It will never stop until you shut off your computer or just manually have to stop the code. So I manually had to stop, but we reached negative 98,000, which is. So that's why you have to try to find ways to avoid an infinite loop. So let's say I run this. It's gonna ask for input, and that's it. I say hello. It's gonna print that back. Hi, print that back. But the thing is that this will never stop. I could say, hi, my name is. This will never end. And what if I want to get out of this? Well, that's where break statements come into play. I could say, inside my while loop, if x equals, and I could say done. And I have to put 2 equal signs here. Break. So now, let's rerun this. And let's say hi. Hello, world. Right? Keeps on going on. If I say done, it's breaking. And now my code, I can't input anything else. So this is where the break statement comes in. You could use a break statement to end a loop. So another important statement that we must understand is continue statement in these iterations. So the continue statement skips to the next iteration. So we could replicate this in replit. So let's say I didn't want to completely break this this while loop or this iteration, and instead I wanted to maybe just skip to the next iteration or the next loop in this while statement. So what I would do is I would use a continue statement. So let's say I didn't want to print this because every single time, every single iteration, every single loop, what this function does is it prints x, whatever your input is, until you say done. Let's say I wanted one line that doesn't print, but then goes back and asks again. So I could say if x, and I'm going to say the first value of x is equal to hashtag. Again, we have to use 0 in this case because 0 means the first value instead of 1. For some reason, Python is like that. I'm going to say continue. So what this is going to do is, let's run this and let's see what happens. So I could say hello world and or print that back. No, not hello world, hello world. If I put the hashtag and said don't print this, what will happen here is nothing will print. It will skip the iteration because continue makes it go back and skip the iteration and have another iteration occur instead of breaking the whole thing. And now we're back over here. We could say hello world again, print that, but we say done, or break the whole while statement. The whole while statement will be broken. So thanks for tuning into this Python course. So thanks for tuning in this Python video where we learned about iterations and while loops. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord where we host open forums for you to ask questions. We have access to the Google Slides, the textbook, and even answers to our exercises.